BuzzFeed was just like the Wild West of the internet. I mean, we had celebrities in our office, famous cats. We were invited to every party. We had to like really go big. There's just no other way to do it. I think you have to step up. We saw the growth. We saw it work. Oh my God. This one is really, really, really crazy.
In this episode, I'm talking to Melissa Rosenthal. She was employee number 10 at BuzzFeed, founding exec at Cheddar, and former chief creative officer and current advisor at ClickUp, a company that does over 9 figures in sales and is valued at $4 billion the last time I checked. She recently co-founded a company called OUTLEVER. We're going to talk about number 1, ClickUp's top marketing channels: billboards, performance ads, SEO, and events. She even shares the amount that they spend on billboard ads, and the amount is crazy. Number 2, the early days of BuzzFeed, as well as her founder story at Cheddar and how the company got acquired within 4 years for $200 million. And number 3, we're gonna try to figure out all the little things like how much money she made off of that Cheddar acquisition, how much cheddar did she make, and personal things like her childhood growing up, and her personal thoughts on how parenthood can impact business success. And every time she can't answer a question, we both have to take a shot of hot sauce from our sponsors, Seed Ranch Flavor Co. Wish me luck, Martians. I hope you enjoy this one. Hello, Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Today, I'm so excited for this guest. We've been trying to get Melissa on for a few months now. We actually have some special announcements about a live event happening in San Francisco, but we can talk about that later on. Melissa Rosenthal, she is currently, she just started a new project, which we'll talk about, OUTLEVER. But before that, she was ex-CCO of ClickUp. A lot of you guys listening know ClickUp.com, CRO of Cheddar, VP of Creative at BuzzFeed. So basically, she has every marketer's dream company shoved into one resume. So Melissa, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, and you're in the Bay Area, like San Diego or something?
You love to say that I'm in the Bay Area. I'm in San Diego. And San Diego is not the Bay Area. It is very, very different than the Bay Area.
Does it have a bay? Does San Diego have a bay?
It does have a bay, but it's not the Bay Area.
That's what I meant. Yeah, it's a city with a bay.
Yes,
Melissa, thank you so much. I know you've been traveling quite a bit, which we'll get into all that. But before we do all that stuff, there's a theme on the show. We usually start the show off with a shot of hot sauce. Okay. Today's episode is actually sponsored by Seed Ranch Flavor Co. And so I think, yep, you got the same one. Which one? You've already opened some of these ones.
Yeah, I've been using them already. Sorry. So this one is, I think, the most mild. Should we start there?
Yeah, we usually start mild and it would go more. Have you tried them all already? Have you tried like the...
Yeah, I've tried all of them. Yeah.
So which one's the most spicy one out of the 3?
Definitely the umami reserve.
Okay. So let's start with this. We'll start with the shot of hot sauce and then we'll get into the real stuff.
It's like halfway done.
No. You just went straight from the bottle?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Maybe I should do that as well. All right.
We're going for it.
All right. Cheers.
So good. I could really just drink that stuff.
Oh my God. Oh, that was so much. Wow. I'm sorry, I gotta take... Oh, no water. All right, I'm just not gonna talk for the next 5 minutes here.
I'll handle the interview for you.
Whew, that was a lot. Okay, this is a good segue. I've given like a short little intro to your background, but maybe you want to tell the audience about yourself and what you do while I try to find some water somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a media and tech executive. I've been, through the course of my career, I've been in a lot of different media companies, and then I moved over to the tech space. Yeah, I've been in the space for about, I think, 13 years now. I was just really driven to join early stage startups by the sheer fact that I wanted to experience disruption in a space. I've been really passionate about seeing companies disrupt legacy media companies, legacy tech companies, just really kind of thinking about how can we do things differently. That's what's driven me into every role. Originally just joining BuzzFeed at employee number 10. It was really an experiment, but the vision was like, how do we disrupt the future of media? Legacy media had been very linear. You get a newspaper delivered, you go to a website. But we believe that the future of media could be really distributed across multiple channels. This was way before Facebook even was a vehicle for distribution, or LinkedIn was, or anything really. So it was a bet on the future of how people would consume content. And then, that sort of led me into, after I saw some flags of why that may not work, led me into helping to found Cheddar and building that company. And we ultimately sold it. And then again, I wanted to disrupt tech. I thought B2B SaaS was boring, and I felt like there could be a challenger brand that came in and did what I did at BuzzFeed and Cheddar, and really bring that to the tech space. So, that's sort of been the journey. It's all driven by disruption, by big bets on companies that I think have a great product, a great mission, and then bringing kind of my special sauce. I know this is sponsored, but my special sauce to the company, and really being able to grow there and grow the company.
Now, I mean, it's crazy because when you join BuzzFeed, now correct me if I'm wrong, like before that you were a marketing associate for a year. Was that the only role that you had before that, or were you working beforehand?
No, I was right out of college. It was like the marketing associate was just honestly an internship really, and BuzzFeed was an internship to start. So I joined very, very, very early.
So you joined as an intern and you climbed your way up. Within 3 years, you were senior director, and then within 4 years, I guess, in your fourth year, you already became the global VP of creative.
Yeah.
Walk us through how you grew so fast. Many people spend 4, 5, 6, 7 years and stuck in that mid-level marketer role. Like, how did you break out so quickly?
So my personality is definitely like risk. I'm not risk averse. I like to take risks. I like to raise my hand for things that I don't understand that I can grow into. I'm just so hungry and curious, and it's just kind of like infinite optimism. And I think a lot of those like attributes and personality traits allow me to just like propel myself. So, a lot of the companies that I've been interviewing for outside of BuzzFeed, that would have been the path. I would have been like a marketing manager for 5 to 7 years and maybe moved up. But BuzzFeed was just so like fast-paced, hyper growth. I saw people being moved around into different roles. And I raised my hand very early for bigger jobs that I could really take on. Originally, it was managing a small group, and then the group grew larger. And then eventually it was taking on the entire global creative team, ending up running teams in Japan, in Brazil, in Mexico, in Canada. And I was just 24 at the time. So it was really, really quite
incredible.
Kind of just building the plane as you're flying it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew where I wanted to be, and I learned as I kind of went along. Again, no one had really carved this path before, so everyone was really in this for the first time. There was no path to even hiring people, quite honestly, because no one had done what we were doing before. So everything was just building a brand new playbook, which is what I really love and enjoy.
Do you think AI is kind of creating a new opportunity for people in the world right now? So if you were 22, 23 years old, would you do the same thing? Would you join like some hyper growth AI company that is doing something that's completely different and just grow there? Like, I'll just leave it pretty open for you.
Well, my company is doing a bit of AI, and it's a mix of like tech and media, but my answer isn't like just yes, because I think that like we're seeing a surge in AI similar to we did when we saw like the surge in SaaS, where there's just so many companies being created, and the influx of capital is insane, right? It's just like I don't know why anyone doesn't really talk about this. Maybe people do. I see it sometimes on LinkedIn, but there's just like there's a bubble happening, right? So I wouldn't just say go join an AI company. I would say figure out which AI company you think will win and dominate, because like half of them won't exist and the rest will be, kind of like already like companies will create that tool internally. So I just believe in like bundling as like, that's what ends up happening. And the reality is that these companies that have the resources and tools can build these AI tools internally within a month. So like to create a net new siloed kind of one trick pony AI tool isn't going to cut it. So I just think it's just evaluating like what's out there. A lot of these tools are just ChatGPT wrappers. They're not like creating net new value. So I think it just kind of depends. But I mean, I'm definitely bullish on the space. My product creates, I think, net new value out of AI. And I think it's really just thinking about like what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to dive into the background of your marketing and all, like the different companies you worked at, and also learn more about OUTLEVER. Before we do that, just want to learn a little bit more about you. Our team did a little bit of digging into your background because you're not a difficult person to find online. You're kind of everywhere. So we did a little bit of digging. So we just want to ask a few personal questions, a few kind of more business-y related questions, and then we'll dive into, all the strategies that you're thinking about growing this new company, and also things that you've learned in the past few years at ClickUp as well. So first, more personal one. We've seen online that you're a bit of a music enthusiast. We've seen you play the piano, the guitar online. Is this like a pretty big time hobby for you outside of work, or is this a form of stress relief for you? Maybe tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's definitely a form of stress relief. I love music. It's creative outlet effectively. My husband was in a touring band during his like formative years and got pretty big. So, it's just like kind of a passion project that we do together, but no, nothing released into the wild, really.
Would you ever like write a song? Like if Taylor Swift or something were to reach out to you and be like, let's write a song. Yeah. Would you put yourself out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you say no to that, you're pretty stupid. But I mean, like not take that opportunity would be a big miss. And even if it's horrible, then people will talk about how horrible it is. And getting press is good press, right? So yeah, well, absolutely.
Maybe after a couple of these bad boys.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how big your podcast actually is, but if Taylor's listening, like I'm down.
Yeah, give her a call.
Yeah.
Cool. We also saw that you have been recognized by a lot of pretty big name brands. Business Insider's 30 most creative people under 30. What do you think? Like when you think about all these different recognitions, what comes to your mind? Like, do they kind of define? Do they kind of give you more? Do they help you believe in yourself a little bit more, or does it give you crazy kind of imposter syndrome when you think about all these?
That's a good question. I think at the time, like they gave me the confidence to do certain things that maybe I would not have been able to do. So I think it was just like internally, like within myself, it was a really big help at that moment, right? I think like I needed those things at that moment to not have imposter syndrome actually. But I think now I look back and I feel like, I don't know. I mean, like people are recognized, like that's just a thing. But like when you're working on something that requires such a huge team to pull off, to be recognized as like a single individual almost feels like very odd. I think they're like, and maybe if there were more team awards, it would be better. But I look back now and I'm like, it's like so unfair. Like I didn't really accomplish this on my own. Like there was such an amazing team behind me that I wouldn't have been able to do any of this. So I don't know, it's more like looking back and self-reflecting and just being like, well, I wish my team was recognized alongside me. But yes, I would say like at the point of being recognized, like it definitely does help with your confidence and being able to step into a room and have an opinion.
Yeah. Were there a couple of people, at least part of your earlier years at BuzzFeed, were there like a couple of people that you that really stood out. I mean, like these few people were really instrumental in my career
Oh my God.
trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, my boss, John, we went on to go start Cheddar together. Like he was he was coming in as a former Google salesman to be president of this company at an early age, for himself. And he had everything to prove. His backup was completely up against the wall, and he took a chance on me, and I took a chance on him. And we had a lot of our formative years growing that company together. And then we liked it so much, we went on to grow another company together. So yeah, I mean, he was instrumental in my growth, a mentor to me. He believed in me. He took a chance on me. So absolutely him, and there are definitely a few others that were just, really, really, really key in my growth there. And I wouldn't have been able to have the career that I have today without them.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. What was BuzzFeed sold for? Was it Cheddar? Cheddar got acquired.
Yeah, BuzzFeed went public. Cheddar got acquired for $200 million in 3 years. So pretty good.
Crazy. What share did you have at the?
You're gonna ask me how much I made off the deal?
Yeah.
A nice percentage. Put it that way.
Okay. Team, audience, what do you think about that answer? Is it hot sauce? Oh, there you go.
Wait, I have to take a shot of hot sauce.
We've been waiting for this moment.
All right. The other questions were so spicy.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a very fair answer.
Yeah, I think so. The audience is just not very nice. Okay, I'm just gonna pull this.
All right.
Okay, I'm not gonna do that. I don't know how you measure. Like that's like next level skills. I'm just gonna use a spoon. Oh my goodness, she's going for it. All right, cheers. I'm just gonna pour.
No, it's not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
I like that one a lot.
All right,
really good.
Cheers.
I think you have to step up. You have to take it from the bottle.
There's I can't control it because when you pour it out a little bit comes out, but once you go vertical, oh man.
Yeah, you just have to understand the texture of the hot sauce, and then you can calculate how much is actually going to.
So I'm getting grilled on my own hot sauce show.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm excited to meet in person. We're Melissa and I are actually meeting in person in San Francisco, so it's gonna be pretty fun. It's gonna be hot sauce. Okay, we're gonna do a quick rapid fire round here, and then we'll jump back to talking more marketing related. So gonna ask you 5 questions. These 5 questions is kind of like a mix of, mostly to learn about your taste. All right, I'm gonna ask you 5 questions, quick answers. If you could go back in time and change one major decision in your career, what would it be?
Going to college.
Spicy. We'll have to come back to that one. Favorite type of wine in your collection?
Oh, I have I'm obsessed with Barolo and Italian reds. So I have a 1982 Barolo that I love very much, and we have a few bottles left. So,
what's your background? Your family background? Is it Italian?
No, I just went to Italy and fell in love with red wine.
Okay, cool. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind.
Okay. What's your favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
I haven't been doing that lately, which is tough. I've been working the startup founder hours, but typically cooking. I love cooking, making Japanese cuisine, doing kaiseki, sushi, home. So love the home cooking.
All right.
I have a very large food Instagram page. Maybe I'll share it on here. Maybe it's yeah,
sure. I think the audience is interested.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's Melissa BuzzFed.
What a name! I wonder where you got that from.
It was BuzzFeed, and then I took out the other E, and it became my food account.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Last question, and this might be a hot sauce question I realize.
Okay. I'll have one ready.
Which was your favorite company to work at? BuzzFeed, Cheddar, or ClickUp?
That's like a multi-part answer. BuzzFeed was just like the wild west of the internet. I thought if work was like BuzzFeed every day, like, I mean, we had celebrities in our office, famous cats. We were invited to every party. It was like, I mean, maybe the closest thing I'll ever be to a celebrity felt like working with BuzzFeed. So that was definitely the most fun. ClickUp was the most like rewarding from like a building standpoint, like building a company to a $4 billion valuation. Like I'd never done that before. So that's pretty rewarding. And then selling Cheddar and building that from, being the number 2 person to be hired there and selling it in 3 years and getting to 50 million in revenue is pretty amazing. So all different like reasons why, but yeah, I've had a really great career. Like they're all great for different reasons.
Okay. Good answer.
It wasn't that spicy.
I think that's a good answer. I think that was great. Okay, I'm not seeing any red flags, so that's a good answer. Okay. All right, let's dive into the companies because this is a marketing podcast. Yep. We're going to talk about marketing strategies. I'll leave this one pretty open-ended. Let's talk about ClickUp because that's your most recent role. You were the chief creative officer for almost 4 years. And then you're still currently an advisor, right? At ClickUp.
Yep.
Okay. Tell us about just how ClickUp is doing marketing these days. What do you see is working really well these days? What do you think is kind of on a downtrend? I'll leave it pretty open-ended.
Yeah, I mean, ClickUp's an interesting case. First of all, I'm obsessed with the company. I use ClickUp now to build our entire company. So it's like I feel like it is such like a foundational tool. I am long ClickUp. I love it forever. I think it's just like a game-changing tool for anyone, like from founder level to multi-thousand person company. So love the tool. Marketing ClickUp is challenging because you're a B2B company that effectively needs to have a B2C approach. Because you are, it's industry agnostic. You need to reach everyone in every industry from 1 to 2 employees to thousands of employees. And, the land and expand motion in PLG truly is one of the biggest ways that ClickUp grew initially. It continues to be. It's, you have it goes wall to wall when the company expands, especially to small startup. Other teams start to adopt it. So, that's always been a motion. It's how do you land your customers and then start to expand them? How do you feed them the things that they need to understand how to expand it to their engineering team and their product team and every other team that isn't using it currently? So that's definitely a big marketing motion. Obviously, there's a ton of life cycle marketing that goes into that, understanding the consumer, where they are in the ClickUp journey, educating them along the way. There's so much that goes into just that. In terms of like growth, pure acquisition, it's tough because, again, like our addressable market is pretty much everyone. It's effectively B2B2C. And we need to reach people as consumers because you have to kind of understand that everyone has a job. A lot of them are in decision-making roles. And even if they aren't, the CMO, they're probably someone that either maybe has a decision-making role or they're close to that person. And the power of influence and the circle of influence is much wider than you actually think. So what we had to employ, especially going up against, Atlassian, a $50 billion market cap company, going up against Monday, a $12 billion market cap company, Asana, we had to like really go big. There's just no other way to do it. So we did a lot of things. I mean, there's no like one single way to just fuel growth. There's a lot of CRO experimentation, of course. There's a ton of just brand awareness that we needed to do. Billboards was a huge part of our strategy, kind of our key growth markets. We did that very early on because we wanted to place ourselves right next to our competitors in airports, right outside of SF in New York. So billboards were a huge part of our strategy. Performance ads that really stood out, having a brand and a personality that, both could be effective and also convert. And then trying and optimizing, obviously, a lot of those performance channels. SEO, the company was built on SEO. Zeb's foundational kind of growth was building SEO. He was very long tail SEO driven, which is amazing because by the time I got there, they had a pretty strong SEO strategy. The company is killing it at SEO. They've rolled out, their template SEO strategy and have dominated. A very large percentage of the organic growth comes strictly from SEO. So, there's a lot of levers that you need to pull constantly to really be able to reach your core ICPs, to land them, expand them, and then to drive net new acquisition. And it's kind of being everywhere, having the right conversations with the right people at all times. So there's no easy answer to that. It's kind of everything.
Yeah, it is kind of everything. But it sounds like the three top channels are billboards, performance ads, and SEO. Really just
brand awareness, performance marketing. Yeah. And SEO.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Do you guys also I guess it's tough because it's like you said, it's a lot of you guys usually brand yourself in a B2C lens, because you want to target a lot of different, even the smaller freelancers. Do you guys engage with the community quite a bit through events or I don't know, parties and stuff like that? Because you guys have so many customers around the world.
Yeah, ClickUp has a very strong community and events program, constantly doing educational dinners and seminars and conferences in every single city. We had a global yearly conference called Level Up, in which we would roll out new features and products to the community, get them excited about what was up and coming. Each year, we grew that by 100%. Last year, or 2 years ago when we did it, we had 60,000 people. So I mean, it's pretty significant. And a large part of ClickUp is community, and also facilitating our own version of what community looks like, but also allowing the existing ClickUp community to exist, right? Because there's a lot of people that it's kind of a self-serve, but it's like being there, it's supporting, it's answering questions, because that community is going to exist regardless of whether you create it. So how do you really jump in there and moderate it and add meaningful value to it?
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Billboards. So billboards. Talk to us about that. I mean, I don't spend a whole lot of time in SF. I go down there every once in a while. Billboards are still very, very popular, and you guys you guys are probably some of the best in the world at this. I've seen some of the billboard ads. It seems like there's still a lot of investments going in there. Are you a huge fan of it? Would you advise it for most other companies? Like for your new company, are you going to be using billboards if you have the budget?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think our model is a little bit different, but the answer is that billboards definitely work, especially when you are trying to reach a large amount of potential customers, and you can physically place yourself next to your competitors. You can place yourself next to the companies of your prospect companies' offices. You just have so much control on placement, like real placement, that can't be bought by bots, viewed by bots. It can't be fraudulent. It's just so real. And if you have the right message that allows people to have that kind of curiosity gap in their minds enough to look it up or be driven by it, you can really win there. I mean, I see it now all the time. A lot of companies are doing billboards. But yeah, I mean, it was a mega channel for us. People loved them. They would snapshot them and send them to us, post them on social. Some people didn't like them, which is even better because they would just post them and be angry about them. It doesn't matter what people are saying. If you're talking about your billboards, you're winning. So yeah, I mean, we invested pretty heavily there in very, very core markets to our strategy.
How much does it cost? Like, what's the pricing structure, do you think?
Well, I mean, it depends. It's very much about like volume and location. Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time hand picking out locations and units, and like, if you really want to do it well, there's like a lot of actual like strategy that goes into what you're picking, the volume you get for the price that you get it at, how you negotiate. But I mean, we did a lot of airport ads because we knew business travelers were definitely our core demo. And we did a lot of buses because you get a lot of value in a bang for your buck, whether you're doing buses. So buses and airports were definitely a big part of it. And then very key locations outside of
give us some numbers. Give us some numbers. Like what would it cost at the airport versus bus? Like, even if it's a range.
I mean, it's kind of hard to say. It's so unit specific. It's like if you want Terminal 8, I mean, like I can't give you a range on the exact billboard, but at our highest spend, I think we were spending like 10 million on billboards, maybe more.
10 million on one single billboard, or 10 million?
No, on thousands.
On thousands of billboards. Okay.
Yeah, but we were buying thousands of billboards.
You were buying thousands at a time.
Yeah, but we didn't start that way. We scaled it up. Obviously, we did brand awareness studies in the aided and unaided in the cities we were both running in and not running in, to see what the brand awareness levels were when we didn't have any billboards versus when we were running them. And we had a goal, and to see that grow over time, we would strategically scale up to the point where we were spending a lot. But yeah, it was definitely like, we saw the growth, we saw it work.
How do you determine whether one billboard? And I'm curious, because I've never actually spent much money on billboards. How do you determine, because if you're getting 1,000 billboards at a time, how do you determine if one is leading to more brand awareness versus, terminal E at another airport?
I mean, the fact is just like, it's a scale play. You can't buy one billboard. It's buying the units that you think are strategic, and then seeing if those units are making an impact. But it's not a buy one, see if it works play. It's a buy 1,000 and see which markets are, try to buy an equal amount of great billboards in different markets that you're going after, and see what the brand awareness, unaided and unaided, is before and after. And then see if that makes an impact. And in certain markets, you make a decision. It's like, if it's not growing, do you want to scale that market more, or do you want to phase it out, right? It's still a strategic decision. If you see a market growing more than others, do you scale up, or do you pull back? Do you stay the same? Just kind of depends where you're looking to be, most known. Where is the most valuable demographic for you for the cost?
And I guess, like, during those months where you're investing that much money on billboards, you don't pull any other levers during that month, just so you can know it's 100% coming from billboards, or do you still test out different things?
That's a great question. So, I mean, you have to put a "how did you hear about us" survey on your site. That obviously there's margin of error there, but it's very important that someone's coming in, that at least you're getting some level of statistical significance in the fact that the billboards are working from a self kind of selecting process. But yeah, I mean, the reality is, like, when you're doing everything, we did billboards very early on, so we could prove that they were working before we ran anything else. We were doing very limited amount of performance marketing, very limited amount of everything else. So we knew that billboards were driving that awareness. But when you're scaling that up, there's going to be a point where it levels off, because everything else that you're doing is also driving brand. So it should be driving brand.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, those studies become less effective in telling you whether the billboards are making a difference, and they just become a core part of your marketing strategy, because you have to trust that the data that you looked at before is going to, scale.
Yeah. Cool. Performance ads. Ads, you mentioned that as the second channel that you mentioned. I assume it's a pretty large portion of ClickUp's spend. Let's start really high level, and then we'll dive down. How effective is performance ads now? I mean, you hear from a lot of marketers that costs has gone up through the roof, and effectiveness and conversions have decreased. Obviously, we're in a pretty crappy last couple of years. But thoughts on performance ads?
I mean, it's hard. They're sort of a necessary evil. When I was there and we were doing them, we were able to scale up a few channels very efficiently over time. And we were seeing the efficiency, so we would put more money into them. YouTube, OTT. The issue is it becomes less and less scalable as you move on. And you don't want to continue just relying on paid. So you try to scale up organic and SEO, and that becomes more of where you're throwing money, because the paid ads just, again, they become less efficient. So I can't speak to exactly what the split is right now, but I would assume that they're struggling with that. What everyone else is struggling with is decreased efficiency over time, because it all just becomes less efficient, regardless of sort of where you're running and how you're running. I think it's kind of unanimous across every marketer I've spoken with recently. So I think your sentiment is probably correct. But I mean, we did figure out how, and also, like, you're going to hit a threshold of when you're spending, but tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to then $1 million a month, like, you're going to see decreased efficiency. So,
yeah. How much was ClickUp spending?
Enough. a lot of money. A lot of money in marketing.
It's a lot of. Oh, is there no? Okay. I think we got to do
hot.
Hot sauce. Well, you at least you're doing ClickUp a solid by not sharing these numbers. So they should
I might get
definitely
in
give you
trouble if I
something
do.
for this. All right. Oh wait, you're going? Hold on. Let me cheers with you.
Oh my God. This one is really, really, really crazy. Are you doing this one?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll go from the bottle. So what's the I guess, how do you do it? What's the form? You just
This one's brutal. So don't drink that much. Like you will choke. Are you doing the umami?
yeah.
Okay. Be careful.
Okay. You
It's
know what?
lots of
I'm
tech.
actually not going to. Oh,
I would
it's
not
watery. It's watery. Oh my goodness.
You know what that means? It's like really, really hot.
Yeah. All right. Cheers. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh no. Oh
I have a
no.
really high like heat tolerance, and this one is like, oh my God. Oh God.
What is this? Oh, it's habanero. Okay, it's not that bad. It like just punches you in the face.
Oh. Well, no, residual for me is pretty rough.
The residual face punching.
Oh, it's almost worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse. What the?
Yeah. You
I have
gotta
no
fight
water.
through it.
I got some mouthwash in case you guys can smell my breath from here. Oh, it's spicy. That is spicy. Thanks for warning me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? You feel that?
Yeah.
So do you typically, before we go back, do you typically eat quite spicy? Like what's your...
Yeah. My spice tolerance is like pretty high. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
This one's very hot though. Very hot. But yeah, I have a high spice tolerance.
Yeah.
It's like burning my lips.
It is. It is. Whew. What were we talking about? I totally forgot.
I think marketing budgets.
What are we doing here again? Are we doing a podcast or something? Oh, that is okay. Marketing budget. We talked about the ad spend for ClickUp.
Yeah.
What kind of companies? Sorry. Wow.
My lips are like really on fire.
Yeah, I don't know why these guys in the audience are laughing. Like, shouldn't they be like?
They should be taking a shot of this
shouldn't be
too.
taking. I know, right?
Very not fair.
Oh my god. What kind of companies would you recommend? Especially early stage companies, like your company is pretty early stage. You just announced it in the last couple of weeks. What kind of companies would you recommend actually use ads in the early days? Or are there any companies that you would ever recommend in the early days?
I don't know. I think you have to prove
burn
product
money on
market
ads.
fit. Yeah, I would not really recommend that at all. I would say you got to try a lot of the organic, like outbound, inbound strategies to see what lands, and then be able to scale that through ads.
Be
I think in your
scrappy.
very early days, be scrappy. Like learn a tremendous amount, and then be able to scale that knowledge through advertising. But I don't think you know enough to run ads. I think you could have a bunch of hypotheses, but why would you want to burn all your capital on ads starting out when you don't know that much?
With the caveat being, are you strict? Is that soup or is that? Was that?
This? Oh no, it's coffee. It's coffee.
Oh, I thought you were just drinking straight soup with ice in it. That would have been crazy.
Power move.
What about like in person, kind of like physical businesses like dentists or chiropractors offices? Like just starting out, would you scale or would you still try to do guerrilla marketing, like knocking on your neighbors' doors, around the block and giving them a flyer, or I don't know. Yeah, what would you do with these kind of businesses?
I think there's a lot you can do with like referrals within patients. So almost like PLG, but through in-person businesses, right? Like patient-led growth, which also is PLG.
Nice.
But,
I like that. Did we just create a new a new term?
Patient-led growth. I'll tell all my doctor friends. But I really do think like expanding through existing networks and seeing what draws people in, again, like will help you build the ads to be able to scale. So all about like organic, guerrilla, hacky ways of growing to start. And then I think being able to scale that through like advertising makes a lot of sense. Once you just need to know a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think it's going away now. I think
My
Spiciness
lips
is,
are still just really on fire, but
yeah. Okay, let's talk about your new company,
yeah.
OUTLEVER. Tell us
Yes.
about what the goal is, like what are you trying to do with this new company?
Yeah, I mean, we really are trying to turn companies into their own like media companies and their own publishers. And, I think it's really kind of the why I built it. Like, at ClickUp, we just realized like you kind of have to be everywhere all the time to really have the right conversations with people. That's what leads to buying decisions. Obviously I mentioned you're spending a ton of money on billboards, you're spending a ton of money on SEO, a ton of money on thought leadership, Super Bowl ads. So you really just always need to be the forefront of the conversation. And like that kind of led to this, like, how do you do that? So what we built is we built a product that turns you into the biggest news source in your space overnight. We ingest billions of signals from what other companies are doing, press releases, who's being hired, what's happening in your space. And we give the brands the ability to own every single touch point of what's relevant and happening in their space at scale. So we get conversations going 24/7. And then we built an outreach machine to be able to reach out to and quote a lot of these really key players, whether they be authoritative figures or ICPs in the space, to give them a voice within your content. And that happens on in an automated way. So effectively, it's a mix of data-driven AI, content creation, lead gen through, at an editorial lens. And we're able to do it at scale where brands can really become like the biggest publisher and trade publication in their entire industry kind of overnight.
So like, I'm trying to simplify this. Is it like your own private social media feed, like your own private Twitter feed or whatever, but just for your company and whatever companies you think are your competitors? Or
no.
more...
I mean, think about like if you effectively want to be the biggest trade publication, your brand sells to creative leaders. You will become the biggest trade publication in your domain overnight, being able to reach your core ICPs through content, through thought leadership. Those people are quoted in your articles. They are referenced. They are reached out to through an editorial lens to create conversations, to create thought leadership. Now that content lives on your site. It lives through your partner sites. It lives through LinkedIn. It lives everywhere. But effectively, you become the hub for those conversations and you own them.
So like use Marketing on Mars, for example, the podcast. Like how would you, like what would you do for Marketing on Mars, for example?
Well, you want to reach, is it marketers industry agnostic?
Yeah, marketers, just any marketers, yeah.
Got it. So you would become the biggest trade publication in marketing overnight. You would talk about what the trends are happening in marketing, biggest hires in marketing, marketing technology innovations, what you're seeing happening in the space. And all of that would become your domain authority and expertise that comes from Marketing on Mars. You would be publishing hundreds of stories a week related to all of these different things. And in those stories, your key ICPs, authoritative figures in that industry, key thought leaders would all be quoted alongside you or anyone else in your company, alongside links that are relevant to those industries. And then, shareable assets are created to share downstream.
And OUTLEVER will do it all?
We do it all. Yeah.
Wow.
All. Yeah, it's all automated.
Fascinating. You have any beta users or anything like that?
Yeah,
like
we have a lot. It's crazy. It's actually been very, very overwhelming. I thought we built a really great product. Like I believed in this my whole career. I've been searching for something like this. So when you're banging your head against the wall and you're able to be the one to solve it, like you should have high conviction on what you're building. But yeah, the response has been actually very overwhelming. Booking 30 demos a week, like it's crazy. I mean, it sells itself effectively. So yeah,
That's
we have
wild.
a lot of beta partners that we're spinning this up for that'll be live in the next couple of weeks. So
okay, and so you're ready? Yeah, 30 beta or 30 calls, 30 demo calls
a week.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Mostly inbound or through
all
your network?
all inbound through my network. Yeah.
Insane. Okay, definitely we got to chat. We got to chat about this. All right, last 6 minutes. What we usually like to do, we usually want to dive into your background a little bit more.
Okay.
Like not about work or business or whatever, more about you and your upbringing, just to understand Melissa as a person. So yeah, I mean, we kind of went through your background. You started off as a marketing associate, did that for a year, and then you dove into BuzzFeed and just hit the ground running. From there, you never really slowed down. Were you raised in a very entrepreneurial background? Like, were your parents very entrepreneurial? Did they guide you? Like, were they big mentors in your life, kind of thing? Like, what was life like you growing up as little baby Melissa?
Interesting question. So I grew up like kind of lower middle class. We didn't really have like that much. I saw a lot of wealth around me and a lot of like people owning their own businesses and doing their own things. We grew up in a very wealthy area, but I was, on the spectrum that wasn't of that class, and it just kind of fueled me. I was like, why is there such a difference in sort of like what they're able to accomplish versus like where I sit now? And I think that sort of just gave me this drive of like you don't really understand it as a child, but you're like, why not? And that just fueled me to like really like try to be entrepreneurial or come up with new ideas or spread my thinking and involve myself in things very early on in high school that would allow me to meet new people and go to the city very often. I grew up on Long Island. And, I think that was just sort of like very, very instrumental. My dad was an event marketer. So I was, really brought up on like experiential marketing, which I loved because it gave people like in-person experiences to be able to like actually experience brands. And like, that was so cool watching people like interact with like a Coca-Cola experience like that, where they were like, oh, this is awesome. So it was a mix of probably those two things that really drove me. It was like, wow, marketing is really cool. Watching people like experience brands and interact with them. And then also just kind of like, growing up not that wealthy and seeing that all around you and wanting more for yourself and for your life and thinking that, wait, everything should be possible, right? So, yeah, sort of what drove me.
Fascinating. I have a question. I don't know how to phrase this question.
That's okay. I'm very honest, open.
Yeah,
person, so.
yeah. So I'm just gonna say it. Like, obviously, like you've had a very successful career, and so much of that was because you were born without money, and that fueled you. Do you think your life would have been different if you had money? Like, if your parents had money, do you think it would be different? I don't know how to phrase that.
I think it's so. No, I know that's a good question. I think about that too. I think like you become relentless when you don't have money, right? Like there's this like drive inside of you where you're just like, there's no comfort. You never feel comfortable. Like it's actually I describe it to being like really hungry because like you just don't have it. And it's not even like wealth. It's just like safety in a weird way. And it's like to never want to feel like you don't have like financial stability again will kind of drive you to do whatever possible that you can to be able to not feel that way. And I think like that's a big part of it. I also like wanted to do something memorable in my career and be different and be remembered. Like I really did want that. But then a part of it was just like financial security. Like I kind of needed to have that in my life to ever feel good about like where I am. Like that had to be a part of it. So those two things.
Yeah, I agree with everything. I know we don't have so much time. We can talk about this for a long time. I also grew up with a single mom. And so we were pretty lower down there. My mom would work 12, 14 hours, 2 different jobs just to keep food on the table. So I think being resourceful.
Yeah, being resourceful.
And you can't teach that. You can't teach that.
Are you an only child?
And my mom had 2 kids. So she was a single mom with 2 kids.
So that makes it really hard. But also being an only child, I like didn't have anyone to look up to or look at. So I had to figure everything out myself, which is part of it, I think, too.
Yeah. Fascinating. Okay, I have one more question and then we'll jump out. Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to talk about this more, but you mentioned one thing on LinkedIn recently. I saw the post. It was very, very, very popular post. You talked about that you wouldn't have achieved everything that you would have achieved and everything if you had kids. I think you know which post I'm talking about. It was very popular on LinkedIn. I saw thousands of people engage on it. Expand on that a little bit more. Like your parents also had you and they've done decent, but obviously when you have kids, there are different responsibilities. Expand on that a little bit more.
I mean, I know the hours I worked and the sacrifices I made and the weeks that I was on the road and gone trying to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. And like, unless I had like a partner or a lot of help, and financially I didn't have that much when I was doing that. So it wouldn't have been possible to like do that, like, and accomplish my dreams. Like, I just don't think I would have been able to get there. I would have had to just take in, this cat in the camp.
You got a cat.
Aren't
cats very time consuming? No.
Yeah, but they're not. They're great. Yeah, no, I mean, it wouldn't have played out the way that it played out. I don't believe it would have. I don't even want to say this, but like, I don't know if I would have been selected for the jobs that I had if I had kids, which is like a really sad but true reality. Like, I think that there would have been kind of like a stigma against people that had, like, I just didn't see it around me. I didn't see like the people in my seat that had 2 kids. I didn't. They had responsibilities. They couldn't go on the road at any given moment. They couldn't fly to a different country with less than 24 hours notice, right? So like, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think it was my willing to like sacrifice my life for my career that allowed me to do that, which, like, it is what it is. Like, I think now that reality.
Now that you do have money and you do have success, would you consider having kids now at this stage of your life?
Well, now I'm starting a company, so it's not really conducive, because
kind of another kid.
I know it's like we're having a company, but it's like, I don't know. I think to be a founder, like, it makes it really hard unless you have a person that like is watching your kids. Also, my husband is my co-founder, which makes it really challenging because now we're both in it.
Wow.
Together. So, I mean, effectively, yes, the business is our child. So, and we have cats. Cats are our kids.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, time's up. I feel like we can talk for hours. Melissa, this is awesome.
This is great. This is very fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do round 2 at some point. So many things we couldn't talk to about AI trends and VR. Like, we would have loved to hear your opinion, but we'll talk about that on our second round. Anything you want to write? Marketing on Mars Live. So you're still listening all the way up here. Melissa, myself, and 3 other of past CMOs that have come on Marketing on Mars will be performing live in San Francisco. So definitely come check it out. Melissa, anything you want to... Oh my God, there's a second one.
Oh my God, they're really all entering the room now.
Anything, Melissa, on your side, anything that we should keep, that you want to shout out before we wrap up?
Just shout out my new company, OUTLEVER. If you're really interested, book a demo. You can do that on our site or DM me. Happy to answer more questions about that. And excited to do Marketing on Mars Live. And this was awesome. Had a great time.
Yeah, Melissa Rosenthal, you can find her. We'll have the descriptions down below, but she's very active on LinkedIn. Melissa, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for having me.